Mr. Benja, I have been watching this new show, Last of Us, and man, I have some mold in my bathroom and I'm scared to touch it.
Yeah, a little mole reminding you that the last of you is it upon us.
Yes, is at hand, man. So, man, everybody's been talking about this show, The Last of Us. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. And it's speaking of mold, it's growing like a mold within the internet community. It's just kind of like, hey, dog, you watched Last of Us yet? I watched it. I, yeah,
That,
I should tell
that,
somebody
that.
else.
Man, HBO has done it again, man. They got another 9 p.m. hit on their hands.
Not convinced.
You're not convinced?
We'll talk about it, but I'm not convinced yet.
What? Ooh, hot take. I love it. I mean, I watch it with my wife, and she's always a good indicator if something's good or not for the masses. Because I mean, she's not in the world like I am, right? I'm like watching stuff, reading stuff about movies like superhero movies, things like this all the time. But so when she likes something and is into it, then I know it's gonna be a hit. So yeah, she's digging it, man. She's digging it. So I think it's got some longevity. So
So
so go
okay,
ahead.
well, hold on. Let's find out. Did you? Because I know what Last of Us is. I worked in the video games industry. My friends have all played it. They're all talking about it. So I get that. But now this is interesting coming from more of an outsider point of view. How did you? How did she approach this, or how did you bring it to her, and how did you guys get into watching it?
Yeah, well, I told her it's a zombie TV show. Well, first she thought it was a movie, right? So
Okay.
she she is against watching TV shows, right? Because it just the time commitment thing, right? So when she first saw the first episode, she said, "Oh, there's more." So yes, it's a TV show. So that's number one. But yeah, so she likes a little darkness and a little scary stuff every now and then. So I kind of pitched it that way. I said, "Hey, this is a high class horror film, right? Let's go check it out." So that kind of got her invested in, and that first episode, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that kind of hooked her, and so now she's in.
Oh, okay. So just that simple. It's just like, hey, watch this. So you didn't tell her anything about the fact that it came from a video game, or that it was about fungus.
I think in the middle of it, right? I forgot I didn't mention anything about that because I kind of knew about because I didn't play the video game, right? I think you may have played a little bit of it, but I remember when it came out, I'm a subscriber to IGN, right?
Yeah, yeah.
HBI, the website, and they talk about all the video games that come out. I never play them though, but I think the last video game I played was Call of Duty. Like 5 years ago, but yeah, so it was one of those things when I was watching it, but I remember watching cutscenes years ago, and I said, "Wait a minute, that's I remember watching that." And so, spoiler alert, they actually take scenes from the video game and put them actually in a TV show because what's the guy's name? Neil, is it Druckmann? Is that the name of the creator?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. He actually is co-writer and director for some of the episodes. And so the guy who actually created the video game for the first time is heavily involved in creating this TV show. So like scene for scene is almost verbatim. So I showed her, went to YouTube, showed her, some of the scenes in the middle from the pilot that actually showed up on the TV show, which I'm sure fans of the video game freaked out. They're like, "Oh my god, I was there." Oh my God.
Oh, it's
So
the
anyway,
greatest. My pants, my
yeah.
pants. That's disgusting.
But yeah, well, video game, guys don't talk like that now. They're all shapes and forms, but yes, that's what they and types of folks. But yeah, so anyway, so she digged it. I mean, and Craig Mazin, he's the writer, co-writer as well. He wrote Noble. I think we talked about that maybe, or I think I mentioned to you, which was a great HBO
Mhm.
series as well about the nuclear, what is it called, problem that happened in Russia in the 80s. So he shows up on what's the other TV show that I like on Apple TV about the video game industry? I'm drawing
Oh,
a blank
right.
right now.
That show.
Yeah,
Crap.
that show.
You can tell we're both kinda a little bit tired here, been doing stuff all day.
I know.
We're
We'll
good.
figure it out. Yeah, we'll look it up in a second. But
Mythic Quest, right?
Mythic Quest, yes, he shows up on there and he writes for it. So he's like prolific guy. One of those guys is always doing stuff. So he loves video games. He knows how to write compelling stories, and so he hooked up with the creator of The Last of Us, the video game, and then now they create this kind of high class, game, and starring, the guy who plays the Mandalorian,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the and a young girl who was, in Game of Thrones, right? The little feisty lady Mormont. So yeah, Bella Ramsey is her name, and then so I think this is a play to kind of grab genre, but to get people invested. So anyway, I like it. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. I think it's something we're gonna watch. What are your thoughts about it so far?
Not that it's bad, but I'm just so you see, video games have problems, man. I don't know if you know this, but the translation of a game to a movie, I don't know if it's really maybe somebody just has to crack the code like Marvel finally did with the comic movies, right? Maybe they just need to crack the code with it. Maybe Last of Us is it, but I like how you call it. I mean, you call it high class. It's still, zombies, but with the kind of different twist on it. So, how high class zombie can you get? It's thoughtful. They've laid out some character motivations. Right now, I'm I'm still feeling like these are just interactive, not people, but objects that are moving across the screen. It's like, well, how do we get to the next level? Well, we got to cross this. Well, how do we, you know, how am I going to kill that monster? Well, you got to find this gun. Oh, okay. It still feels like it's playing out like a game, an interactive whatever. But as far as like, I don't know, man, I just got a disconnect there.
That's interesting. I think the first episode was not like that. I mean, it was more about the set.
First
And
episode, yes.
yeah, so I think the second episode had some criticism. It does seem like we gotta go to this, then they get to this, to get to this. So that's like the video game, right? You gotta all these obstacles you gotta get over, right? And then and the shocking ending at the end. But yeah, but the first episode, maybe we'll discuss that first. So first they kind of start. I mean, I guess we'll get into spoilers too. So the first two episodes are out. So again, we will be getting into spoilers. So if you haven't seen The Last of Us, fast forward to the rest of the podcast. But yeah, so let's get into it. The first episode is very compelling. They actually started off. The main character starts with a young girl, and she's kind of doing living her life, and I think she's getting ready for her dad's birthday. Starring Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian. He's
Yeah.
on this show, so it's just before the pandemic. Well, they did something interesting. I thought was they actually took it back into the 1960s, right, where they had like a talk show, and they're trying to give you a sense
Yeah.
of what this could mean if this actually happened, where instead of having a pandemic that we a pandemic based on a virus that unfortunately we went through in 2020, what if it was fungi, right, that kind of did it. And they said, well, it'll be way worse because number one, it would just take over the human body, which we'll see later on. But also there's no cure. Now I always think there
Yeah.
could be some cure, but I think they were just saying, hey, because we just never conceive it, because typically fungi can't live in a human body because of the temperature. But if they evolve to understand, to handle heat better, then yes, they could do something like that. So that so they're trying to set the premise. Yeah, this is what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and then they take it to when it starts. So how did that opening scene kind of hit you with the young girl and just going about her day, and you slowly start seeing society crumble around her as she's going about her day?
I actually dug that. And I dug the as you said, the 60s, 70s, whatever, early. I love that throwback whenever they just lay out one of those. And it's like part of you is like, well, what was that? And the other part is just like, okay, I should remember that for later. Just set that tone and then jump right into the action really quick. The thing that I liked about that is that I didn't think they would kind of do that twice. So, I don't want to jump ahead too much here, but the fact they did that little preamble, then you had, Pedro and his daughter. I forgot the character's actual name.
I think Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, him and his daughter, them there setting up these, his whole vibe, his whole character, her situation. I really thought that was a great character setup. So good, strong first episode with the character, the world. The world crumbling reminded me of Snyder's Dawn of the Dead when he did, when
Yeah.
they were all sitting around the house and everything. I mean, that went crazy much quicker, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the slow burn of people still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I thought it was a lot more realistic than it usually is in these situations where it's like, hey, they turned off these news outlets. You can't get any information. And it's like, how come we can't get any information? You go outside and people are yelling, go back inside. What's going on? someone says the virus, you see a plane crashing in the distance. That whole setup, it just kind of pulls you in because everyone knows what's happening. The audience knows what's happening because you're watching a zombie movie, right? Audience knows what's happening, but now it kind of makes sense to roll with it just to understand the stakes, the people involved. I don't know, it just worked for me. That worked.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, very compelling. I mean, that's kind of, if you're on the ground level and you're seeing helicopters come and then like more helicopters, but it starts off small. You're like, oh, there was a disaster in Jakarta, right? On the radio in the background. Then you hear about, people acting suspicious, at the watch shop, or we gotta go. Shut down the door. You're like, oh, okay. And then you hear police cars coming around. So it's just this sense of uneasiness that they just kind of built up. Then it's just like this is crazy. And then of course, the next door neighbor, when you're just like, something the dog's acting funny, and you go over there and now you see the monster's out. And then yeah, so it just shows you the slow crumbling of everything. And then when the scene where the father and the uncle and the daughter try to get out, and you see from her perspective, that's literally cut scene from scene from the they even
Yeah.
the burning house right in the field right. That's literally from the video game. You're like, oh wow, did a lot of work there, guys, didn't you? But yeah, and then you're right. Then the crashing plane and the people running around and I guess it was Austin, downtown Austin,
Mhm.
beautifully done. And then just the confusion and just trying to escape. And then, yeah, just masterfully done, man. Young lady, guess what? That the two things I want to say. This also reminded me of another movie I saw. It was kind of crappy movie, but Gerard Butler, he did a movie called Greenland. I don't know if you saw that. I watched it like one afternoon just on the humble. And it was kind of similar where it was, a meteor or something was coming to the earth, slow build up, and then all of a sudden people, say, what's going on? I said, we gotta shut down this, this is shutting down. And and then people didn't know what's going on. And then Gerard Butler, because he was a necessary essential worker, he got a special call on his phone, and they just said, "This is where you're going to meet. Take three of your family members and meet here by 8 o'clock, and that's it." And he hung up the phone. So he started looking around because all his neighbors in his house, and he said, "We're gonna be right back, guys." And so he took his family, he started walking to the car, and everybody's like, "Where you going? You got that call. You're an essential worker." And they started jump on him. He's like, "Get out of here."
Hey,
It's that
man.
slow walk, then you walk in and try to get out of there before anyone notices.
You
Yeah, so that was hilarious.
you know what struck me as interesting? The Okay, so the timing of this is funny, where zombie movies or zombie properties are kinda starting to fade and, like, it's like everybody's saying, "Okay, zombies again, here we go." And the game came out in 2013, right? So even that's a little dated in terms of how long it's been out. But somehow with the pandemic, and it's totally riding that wave of this is where we are, this is where we're coming from. Something about the writing and the structure and the way they're showing things is really calling into account all of this pandemic feeling and dank vibe that we've just got going on,
Mhm.
where it's like there are times I mean, you remember the toilet papers,
Yeah,
run on toilet paper everywhere.
yeah.
I'm starting to think like, wow, I saw people just going crazy and fighting over toilet paper, and there was like a torn package of toilet paper on the shelf, and somebody picked it up and was like, well, it's torn. Three of them are missing in there, but I'm gonna get a discount on it. I'm gonna take it up to the counter anyway.
Mm,
That kind of stuff. And you start seeing like, man, what will people do when they can't get something serious like water or fuel or can't get batteries,
yeah.
I mean, what happens if we run low on batteries and stuff like that? And it's tapping into a lot of that's happening right now. And it's funny. It's like I don't always lock all the locks on my house. I'll do the bottom lock or the deadbolt or whatever. But now it's like bottom lock, top, the chain, the gate outside. I go lock that. It's like you've got this little uneasiness that's just pervading throughout all of humanity, and this is touching on that. I don't know. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, and then if you watched Chernobyl, did you get a chance to watch Chernobyl at all?
Excellent series.
Yeah, very excellent. So it's kind of like that same thing. The radiation is this unknown killer, right? You feel fine, right? But you're getting hit with, millions of, I forgot what the metric term was, but just tons of radiation, and you end up dying horribly, right? So it's kind of like I'm fine for like, first day, I'm smoking a cigarette, everything's fine. Next day, oh, my skin's falling off my face, and
Someone
yes.
st yeah, someone starts coughing. Everybody looks at that guy.
So, I mean, so Mason, he knows how to build this sense of dread, right? I mean, and that's kind of what they did in, Chernobyl, and that's what they're doing here. And you're right, it's excellent. And yeah, absolutely, society would break down just that easily. I mean, we pretty much saw it happen with over toilet paper, to your point. I mean, it was just, yeah. So it's kind of 2020 was a wake up call, I think, for like,
Yeah.
humanity had a chance to prove themselves. Yes, we will survive anything, alien apocalypse, whatever. We'll make it happen. No, we would absolutely got an F. And so I have no faith at all anymore. What would
"You
happen if
will
you
you will not stop me from wiping my ass."
literally? So anyway, so I think, yeah, so I thought that was excellent. And that was, I think that was in the first, what, 20 minutes of the show. We had this whole sequence. I mean, spoiler alert, the young lady that they focused on so heavily, his daughter unfortunately dies because they were trying to clean house, and the soldier was trying to stop the dad and his daughter. And unfortunately, she got killed in the process, which is very sad. It was great performance by the young actress. And guess who that there's a big term going around. Number one, Nepo baby. Have you heard that term?
No.
It's about all these actors now who are related to other actors
Oh,
or other
okay.
famous people. So she is a Nepo baby. So I don't know if this is a derogatory term yet. Guess who her mom is?
Thandie Newton?
Yes.
It
Did you
is?
already know that? Or you just looked it up.
No, I've got I got a picture of Thandie right here, and,
Oh,
don't ask me why.
right next to Mother Teresa. Yes, I know.
Right next to, Fred Ferry, Jeff Bezos, and Pharrell Williams on there too. I
Okay.
get different ideas from people. I take a picture of them, print it out, and put it on the whiteboard until they're out of my mind, but Thandie's up there right now.
Yeah, because now when you
She
look
looks
at her
like
on
her.
YouTube, yeah, exactly. I mean, like I kept looking, I said, "Why does she look familiar? Why does she look familiar?" And boom, Dandy Newton's daughter. So
Oh,
Westworld has come to The Last of Us.
oh, oh, Nepo baby. Hey, I wonder, like, "Hey, taking my show off the air, you better do something to give me you better pay back. What you gonna do?" Alright. Your daughter's kinda cute. Let's get her on.
Yeah, so Dandy Newton. I mean, great actress. I mean, she's been around forever. I mean, she's done everything. She did Tyler Perry movies. She's done Eddie Murphy movies.
Tom Cruise.
Westworld. She was in what's that movie? One of her first movies. She was actually in a movie with what's her name, Nicole Kidman. So yeah, like when she was like 18. So she's been around for a minute. Definitely one of those classy beauties, but also just a very good actress. So I don't think she gets to do enough. So, but good for her. So anyway, so her daughter, played that role. Unfortunately, passed away in the show. So they kind of fast forward. I mean, that was a big jump. I didn't know they're gonna go like, what is it, like 20 years, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like that's a big jump.
Yeah. Well,
Time jump.
did you know the daughter was gonna die?
I mean, I suspected as such because she wasn't in the posters, right?
Yeah. Well, how did it hit
So,
your okay, how'd that vibe hit your wife then?
yeah, she was kind of shocked. Yeah, she was kind of shocked. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, people ask me, like, were you surprised? And a lot of times I actually am because when I watch these things, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, art critics, they'll go look at a painting, they'll sit down, they'll cover their eyes, they'll breathe in hard and, and wipe their face, and they'll look at the painting. It's almost as if they're trying to see it for the first time. They're trying to just take it in. It's a whole exercise of clearing your mind, right? I do that
Yep.
whenever I watch something that actually matters to me. So when
Mm.
I watch this, I'm like, I have never seen a zombie movie in my life. I don't know what's going on.
Oh wow.
I don't know what platform I'm watching it on. I try to just clear my mind of all of that and let the thing hit me. And yeah, that actually hit me when she died. I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. But wait a minute.
Yeah.
We already had like a preamble. So this is a preamble to something else. So
Yeah.
the double preamble was kind of cool. I was like, okay, I have
Yeah.
two setups to the actual story.
Yeah. The set Well, I think they wanted to set that first part up to kind of connect this world to our world in some way, right? And
Mhm.
then and then they kind of want to say set this world with rules and stuff. And also, it's based, literally. I mean, that's what happens. Look, you walk around as the Sarah, I think, character for the first part of the game, and you control her before you actually control, Joel, who, the main
Joel,
character,
right?
one of the main characters. So anyway, so they jump ahead. The post-apocalyptic Boston. Did it seem realistic to you, with all that overgrowth and greenery and all that kind of crap going on, and buildings tipping over? Did that seem like realistic?
I actually thought it would be more green, more trees and stuff. 20 years. I mean, man, it rained. It rained for like 5 days out here in LA. People lost their minds. Dude, I pulled out literally a clump about the size of half a shoebox of greenery that just showed up in my rain gutter after the rain. I'm like,
Wow.
what the heck is this? And yeah, I almost fell off the ladder trying to pull it out because dirt flew in my face and everything. I'm like, how does this even happen? But yeah, I figured it would be more green, but I think that may have seemed a little too unrealistic for people if it just all of a sudden turned into like bush gardens.
Yeah, so and then also we kind of fast forward just production design, but I think that's important to kind of how you tell a story. And I think the video game is like that, right? It's just very lush and green. So unlike other zombie movies, right? I think a lot of the zombie movies are what there is man made, right? Some virus got out of the lab at the CDC,
Mhm.
or some monkey, or something happened that just is going to. This is the first time. This is basically Earth is attacking the human beings, right? It's like
Yeah,
not only is this a fungus, so it's not it's already exists in the planet, so it's just taking over now, and then also the Earth is taken back, where the greenery is going everywhere. So it's kind of like a more of a ecological kind of horror film, right? So this is like the Earth is getting back at us
yeah.
for all the harm we did to it. So anyway,
Did that seem plausible to you, or was that kind of corny?
no, it's different. I mean, and then we'll get into like the functioning, which is a little bit, how they spread the disease, how to communicate, which is different from the video game, right? But I think I kind of like it. A little different take on it, right? How are you about, they showed the little things coming out people's mouths, and just like, how they look and stuff. Some people are freaked out about that. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I can look at that stuff. It looks fake to me. So I'm not like really freaked out about that. Are you one of those that gets like freaked out? And then we'll talk about the one that happens in the second episode. I think a lot of people were freaked out about that, but I don't know. It
See,
doesn't do anything to me.
so dude, I am, and this is where I have to be careful because I become so desensitized to a lot of stuff like this. It's like I found, that I'll just be talking about something and somebody will like, close up their little takeout tray. I was like, I've lost my appetite. I don't believe you just said that. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So that type of stuff tends not to bother me. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. I was like, huh, okay, well, wouldn't it be like this? And how come their teeth haven't started turning into wood or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, good point. Yeah, and I think there's like different levels of these zombies, right? I mean, ways the more affected you are, right, the
yeah.
worse it gets, and we'll talk about some of the other kind of zombies that come up. But
What
or
made you think of that? Is that somebody was talking about how gross it was, or
I can
just
see that.
disturbing?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the second episode, there's an interesting part at the very end. When
Let's go ahead. The kissing.
yeah, so the second part is the kiss, right? There's a
Yeah.
character that unfortunately that makes it. And this guy, the zombie infected, that's what they call in the show, the infected, not the walkers, not zombies, but the infected, starts walking toward one of the characters that she's already been infected. And she's trying to kill them, but I guess she's struggling between her humanity and being turned completely into the living organism that is the fungus. And they connect, and then he opens his mouth, the tendrils come out, and they start kissing. And so people kind of got freaked out over that, but it was fine.
Yeah.
But the thing was, but the thing is like drawn to the human beings as the host and wants to take
Yeah.
over. And it juxtaposed that at the end of the second episode with what happened at the beginning of the episode, where they had another flashback when one of the characters, reached in, got the tendrils, and the tendrils was trying to give her a little kiss. Remember, reached out to her. So
Top of
I
the
thought that
doctor.
was kind of interesting. Yeah, the doctor at the very beginning.
See, yeah, I really liked that scene.
Yeah.
Like the whole, she was eating her food, right? She was in a restaurant, consuming, and they're like, "Hey, sorry to stop you from your meal." And she's like, "Well, I was almost finished." and then they took her into, the facility, and yeah, back into Jakarta, Indonesia, right? Indonesia
Yeah.
somewhere out. I don't know if that was Jakarta, but Indonesia somewhere. And she was like, "Hey, dog, what we got to do? Got to bomb this bitch, bomb it all."
I mean, that's storytelling 101, man. Just very economical, right? They give you the stakes. I mean, I should study these scenes, man, because he's like really giving you a lot of exposition in a very entertaining way, right? To your point, she's supposed to be the foremost expert in fungi, right? They bring her in, she's like, it's
Mhm.
another day, whatever. And then they said, check this out. She's been bit, the military. So we're skipping ahead, guys, to
Yeah,
the second episode, but it's a prologue, so we're gonna compare prologues. I think the first episode prologues, the two prologues were good, but I agree. I think the second one there was something a little bit something spicier about it. It was kind of interesting, where they had an expert in Jakarta where we or Indonesia where we think where they said it started, and you have her. She's perceived as this expert, and the military is just doing what they do. Hey, come in, tell us what's going on. They're like, no big deal, right? Very similar to Chernobyl, right?
yeah,
The expert first, the military guy's like, oh, whatever, it's just it's just some fire. We're just gonna turn it out, whatever. And then I never forget that scene when the expert played by Jared Harris looks at the thing. He said, what? What? He's like freaking out. And they were like, what are you talking about? He said it was only like 13, 13, gigawatt, whatever what's it called? I can't remember what the term was, but it was only this. You said that's because the meters they had only measured up to 13. So it's probably like millions of radiation they were getting, not what you
yeah,
think. He said, and so it was like that's kind of like he did the same thing here where they had the expert come in. She kind of investigates his bite, looks at the thing, and then she pulls the tendrils out of the victim, the deceased mouth, and then sees the tendrils reaching out. It's still alive, and
yeah,
then she drops it, freaks out, tries to get out. Now this is the
yeah,
expert freaking out,
yeah,
so she's scared that this is not normal. And then they set it up where she's sitting there, having her tea and talking to them. And the whole time she's talking to her, I don't know if you noticed, her hand is shaking while she's drinking the tea.
yeah.
And they're like, well, what you gotta do? It's no big deal, what you guess she said. I mean, what we gonna say? Well, look, yeah.
No, something else just hit me. The way a lot of cultures use tea, after a meal, they'll cleanse the palate with the
Good
tea.
point.
They cleanse the palate and they calm themselves. And she's like talking about bombs, cleansing the city to everybody. You got to calm the situation down. It just hit on so many levels, and I just realized the whole cleansing the palate tea thing right there.
Yeah. And she's like, I mean, when she's saying, look, you just got to bomb everything. And she knows this is it. If we
Yeah,
don't get rid of it immediately, it will affect every human being because that's just what the organism does. And so, yeah, so I think that prologue was very powerful to see that kind of scene and how it's kind of started everything. And of course, they use that to kind of reference back to, these cities that were bombed out. But I got to complain about that, a nitpick on that one, but we'll get into that
well,
later.
hold on. They showed the microscope scene first,
Sure
because
did. Yeah, what did it look like? I can't remember. What
because
it's like.
they were like, "Hey, take a look at this," and she's like, "Why is this living thing being processed like this?"
Yeah.
She's like, "That's for plants," and they're like, "That is from a plant, and that's why we did it like this." She's like, "Well, how is it a plant if it's like this?" So they showed that stage of confusion, like where people. So I think what they're doing there and is just referencing like a little microcosm of humanity. Like they're still kind of confused about things and like, well, hey, why is it like this? And it's messing with the audience too. It's like, well, why is the why is this story even like this? Or why are these? It was paralleling. It's doing a lot of parallels,
Mm,
and I was. It is coming back from that whole '60s thing where it had certain parallels. It's like, well, we can
mm,
show you what's happening in another way and relate this to how the audience is perceiving this, how society's perceiving this,
mm.
so it's like you're supposed to have one type of reaction, right? Scientifically and mentally. You're like looking at it, it's like, hey, well, wait a minute. Why did you process it with this chemical? That's only for plants, or that's only for living characters or what creatures or whatever. And you got a plant in here or something. Why are you
Yeah.
doing it like that? Like, well, no, no. It is a plant. It's not a living. That's why we're calling you, because this is like really weird. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Instead of confusion and unknown, is starting earlier on to kind of mimic what we're kind of experiencing too. And
Yeah,
so, especially she's an expert, right? And so, okay, interesting. Yeah. Storytelling, man. The guy's good, man. So, anyway, go back to the first episode. So, like I said, overall, I thought the first episode was compelling. I mean, we're not going to get into all the deep the beats of it, but they introduced the character, the main character of Ellie, and come to find out, she's got bit by these things, but she didn't turn infected. So
mhm,
she, first time in a long time, is hope for this hopeless society for over 30 years. And we see Joel, after what happened to his daughter, become a bitter man.
yeah,
Matter of fact, they even did a even worse scene where a kid comes out of the jungle. They kind of lied to the kid and just say, hey, everything's gonna be okay. But they notice he's got a small bite, and they end up, killing him and dumping him into the fire so he doesn't get everybody infected. And so it just shows you just what a dark world this is after 20, 30 years, right? Of just,
yeah,
humanity giving up. And so for the first time, they have hope with this young girl.
yeah.
So did you like to get it before we get to the details, but did you like this whole kind of subplot? I mean, it's kind of important to kind of build this world building they're doing, where this is this Fedra group, and then there's these fireflies that fighting against the Fedra, and then you got these smugglers and their economics and what they're doing. I mean, they try to do a lot in that first episode, explaining all
Yeah.
this. Did that make sense? I mean, it kind of
So,
makes sense, but does it? I don't think my wife understood any of that, but did it make sense? You think, from that standpoint?
no, for me to connect with these types of things, you need a very visual and like a tangible kind of representation. Like I know it sounds corny, but if these people have cornered the market on gasoline or batteries or whatever, it's like you've got to see them all wearing like yellow jackets or,
Good point.
you know, it's kind of corny and nobody would do that. But as far as a visual medium is concerned, or even look something you're listening to or whatever, there just has to be that tangible. Yes, these are the bad guys, and people get on me for looking for that. Like when I look for a villain, I'm looking for the twirly mustache kind of guy. I know it's corny, but once you get past it, it tells a story very quickly, and then you can do things like, well, wait a minute, how is this guy a good guy when he has the evil twirly mustache? And it starts to get you to think
Mhm.
without having to sit down and analyze. You just want
Mm.
these
Just to be
flags.
absorbed.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
So
You just want them to be drawn to the story so immersed that you don't even think about, like, wait a minute, that don't make sense. Like, be honest with you, it threw me out. I had no clue. I guess Joel's partner, Tess, I didn't understand why she was getting beat up. And then I didn't understand, it was kind of confusing there. It was just kind of
right,
lost
right.
me. It was like then she escaped from them, but then she had to go find them again. And it had something to do with Joel's brother. I mean, it was not very clear. I mean, to kind of establish all this. So,
Yeah, who do
but
they think they are? Andor?
Dude.
All this ultra deep storytelling. It's a video game
Yeah,
movie. Come
it
on.
was too much. I mean, they could have cut some of that out. But I get what they were trying to do with it, but I don't know, it just didn't work. And so true story, obviously this game came out a long time ago. There were actually voice actors who did this. Do you know I mean, if I look it up, well, you probably wouldn't know. I'll just give it. There's one voice actor, who's playing the same role that she played in the video game.
Danny Newton.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
The actress name is Merle Dandridge, and she plays Marlene. And she was the actual voice actress that was in the original, played the leader of the Fireflies.
Okay. I heard
Yeah,
about a voice actor.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the only one. Everyone else is different characters. Now, the actress who actually played Elle is in the TV show, but she plays the mother of Elle now because she just kind of aged out of the role. But I think they chose Bella Ramsey from Game of Thrones because she looks just like this actress. Because my wife was like, that she looks very familiar, not from Game of Thrones, but the actress that played, the original Elle voice actress was from Family. What's it called? Dang, I just had it. The Kirk Cameron TV show. And she played Chrissy, and she was the family daughter from,
Okay.
man. What was the name of that show? Now I'm drawing a blank. It's not. It was so many other shows back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, there were.
But it was the one that with Kirk Cameron and then Leonardo DiCaprio showed up for a little bit. So yeah, so she played the daughter they introduced at the end, and it was Growing Pains. That was the name of the show.
Right, right.
So anyway, so I thought that was interesting. So they're still trying to prep her, and they said the guy who played Joel, I think Jeffrey Pierce, he's gonna come up
Mhm.
again. So they're trying to use some of the same actors that
Right.
played the role. So that's gonna be interesting as we get into this. If a lot of these TV shows or more movies come and TV shows come from games, we see a lot of these actors recreate their original voice acting role into live action. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts there?
I don't care. I mean, it's just that's just something that's so far from me. And, I think it's cool, but it's just not something that's on my radar. And Andy from East West Players and, the Asian American theater groups, he is very big on theater, theatrics, character, the actor, the person behind it, the emotion behind it all. And we were talking and we were trying to figure out where our differences lied. And I realized that I'm coming from video games and I'm generally thinking of, okay, here's a character, he's got to do this, there's a task, an obstacle, he needs, the three keys, A, B, and C key to get through the door to unlock to go to the next level. And
Yeah.
from there, we started all over again. And I was saying, yeah, how come this movie didn't have, they didn't have a key or whatever to get to the next level or talk to the next person? And he was like, well, no, you have to understand the characters, this and that. And we kind of came to this realization that, oh, you're coming from an artistic medium that's about literally a character behind the character, a person, a human on the stage that's reflecting an emotion onto an audience that's right there.
Mhm, mhm.
And, the whole set, the whole costuming, the story, that's kind of dressing to this whole relation to people. Me, on the other hand, I'm coming from, the audience is some dude on the couch interacting, and he's actually trying to go through strip away all the costuming, strip away all the characterization. It's just about connecting point A to point B, MacGuffin,
Mm,
key
mhm.
unlocks this.
That's
So I,
interesting.
I think in a really good story, both of them work very well and you can have a common ground. But as far as like caring about it, and this is why I think that a lot of video games have problems transferring into a live action movie, TV show, or whatever type of format because there's their whole structure is based on this linear, you know, protagonist, get some keys, unlock this, move to that. You know, I say keys generically,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
you
Yeah.
know, well, the only way we're going to get such and such to like me is if I do this. So,
Right.
okay, that's a key. I got to unlock that to get to the next part of the story, whatever. So,
No, yeah, yeah, and you can see that's why they have you got the guy who actually wrote the video game and an actual Hollywood TV show writer, right? Coming together, and you can kind of see that is almost like the confusion, right? Because you can see the spackle the Hollywood guys putting on there, right? Building
yeah,
character,
yeah,
right? The intros at the beginning, right? Just to give you a little bit taste of stuff. Then you can see the writing of the video game creator. You're right. It's very like the second episode is really like that, right? Now we got Elle. We got to get her to meet these other guys. These other guys are dead, so now we got to go to this building. Oh, to get this other key. Then we find out the gas folks. It's like boom, 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 boom.
yeah,
So you're like, oh, okay. The character development stuff is, almost out the window a little bit.
yeah. And that can work if your characters are set up and that's part of the ride. Like I think that worked really well for Squid Game, where it's like
Mm.
you've got this character and it's like, how is he going to get to the next level? He's got to become friends with this person. But it all worked there. This I
But you,
think is
but you know why? I know why it worked because there was
what
an ultimate goal.
yes.
You understood his goal was to get that whatever 50 million won or money up in the sky, right? And so
Yeah.
yes, there were levels to it, but we know there's still no, we're just going from point A to point B. obviously she has something in her, but they haven't,
Right.
just like a video game, they don't tell you the whole story right away. At the end, your goal is to, maybe Super Mario Brothers, right? You gotta get the princess,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
save the princess at the very beginning, but they don't really tell you like, oh, you just gotta get her there, but then you get her there, and then some complications ensue. So, I think that may be it. I'm just
Mm.
brainstorming that.
No, no, that is a good point where with a lot of games, you're pretty much at the beginning told, "Here's the end goal, go figure it out, how
Yeah.
you get there." And you know in the back of your head, well, they're gonna get there somehow. So somebody, whether they die, pass on the dream to somebody else, they're gonna get to the end goal.
Mhm.
So, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think HBO though was very instrumental. I think they were a very, very good choice to actually make this happen because if this would have been Netflix flavored or Paramount Plus flavored, this could have been flushed out. Disney Plus flavored could have been flushed down the toilet.
Little flavor of Disney Plus. I don't know. Netflix made, they've been dropping hits, man. Hits after hits. Wednesday, they just had, what was the other one they had
Wait,
a hit
wait,
on?
wait.
Dahmer.
Critically acclaimed hits or just people watching it hits? Come on now.
Yeah, okay, fair point, fair. But people are watching, HBO stuff too. Yeah, I mean, is it good? I mean, you know what? Yes, all the mess is happening. We're not gonna talk about this pod, but your beloved Doom Patrol is gone no more. So we'll talk about that maybe another
Wait, they're
time.
gone?
Yeah, they got canceled.
Oh, okay. Cancel. I still haven't finished watching them. I'm like,
Well, hey, Zaslav, who knows, man? That might be off the show.
so
Anyway, so
wait, hold
yes,
on. Quick interjection here because they've been cutting shows.
yes,
I was about to cancel my HBO Max, and I was like, you know what? I need to plow through as many of these properties as I can because when I log back on, it might not be there.
exactly.
So I went to cancel actually. I was gonna go cancel for like a month and then come back and just, like watch 5 episodes of Last of Us all at once. But what happened was I canceled and they were like, hey dog, calm down. Don't cancel just yet. And I was like, why not? They're like, well, you're up here for $15. We'll get you in for $7.50 for the next 3 months if you just hang on and
Nice,
time it. And they got me one of those. I didn't expect it. So I was
nice.
like,
The down sell. I love it.
a down sell.
Russell Brunson would be proud. HBO pulling the down sell.
It's funny. It's funny because I think that's a good offer. I'm like, I go through 3 steps. I'm like, "Hey, that's a good offer." And then I'm kinda mad, like, "Man, they've been overcharging me all this time,
I
and
know,
now
I
they're gonna
know.
give me for half price. You kidding me?" And then I get happy again, like, "Oh, well,
Hey
now I
guys,
can
so
now I
so
can finish
yeah.
watching this."
Hey man, thanks man. I might take that off. So I might get that too. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Because
I can buy another steak dinner,
But
saving up.
so we're kind of going a rat hole here, but yeah, I think HBO, man, they're living and dying by this 9 o'clock hour. I mean, the quality is shown there, and it sounds like they have to have a hit show every Sunday night for the foreseeable future, or people going to cancel in droves. Because to your point, if it is it bec- the service has become less valuable when at least to me, who likes more high end show. Now, if you like, Chip and Joanna, fine. That's Dr. Pimple Popper. Looks like those ain't going nowhere, right? But any quality type show, they're looking like they're taking it off. So it's becoming less valuable for me if they do not have a hit. I don't know, I may not even have need it, because if it's not a hit, there's no hit on Sunday night. What's the point of watching it? So anyway,
Mhm.
we'll see what happens with HBO. But we digress and say all that just
It
to say that. Go ahead.
No, we digress. I finished the thought.
Yeah, we're just gonna, just saying, hey, that's just a show that we're all kind of watching and investing in for the foreseeable future. And to your point, HBO, is creating quality content, and they decide to invest in this. But I'd still think that Netflix probably could have done something with this. But you're right, it may not have been as the quality. It may have been a lot of views, but the quality may not have been good.
Yeah, and, that's stuff I don't mind not seeing. I'm like, "Oh, man, I can't watch next to Dr. Pimple Popper. I wanna know what happened with that guy had the thing on his shoulder." Oh, well. And you don't care. It's just like, "Oh, well."
Yeah. That's that lean
This
back TV, baby. That
Yeah.
lean back.
So I just popped over to Twitter to see, like, what was going on with Last of Us. I'm like, "Okay." anytime you want to find out what's happening with popular society or a lot of people at any moment, just go to Twitter and type in whatever topic. So I typed in Last of Us. The first thing I get, boom, The Last of Us season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know how hot that news is, but it was news to me. So they're already pumping it like by HBO. Like, hey, we're not just gonna leave you hanging. You might as well watch now because we're gonna keep going. Like, okay.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, people can churn out and wait till it comes back. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to keep people around. But yeah, I think the show has value when it's in a library. But it looks like they don't care about that anymore. They need money now. So what they're going to do is take it off their servers and just repackage it to someone else and sell it to them as a whole series, so they can get
Mhm.
more money for it. And so anyway, we'll see what happens in the future. But ultimately, I think we both are endorsing Last of Us. I mean, first episode was great. Storytelling was great, kind of getting us excited about it. Second episode, I think it was more functional, kind of see how the world worked. Before we end all this, I mean, what do you think about the storyline, the world building around the infected, right? Like how there are different levels to them, how they communicate. I mean, is that, I mean, from a
Uh,
storytelling standpoint and then from a video game change up, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not so concerned about how well it matches to the source material, the video games at all. That's not my I don't care. I mean, once again, it's a story I'm watching. If they change something, fine. I think they got a good idea from Resident Evil where it's just like, look, do what you got to do. Just, just take the properties, make something good for screen and make it work.
Yeah.
But what I think's really good is how is when a show can make these kind of, you know, lock and key mechanisms or the progression of the story where they can not just make it logical because, you know, what they did was gave you logical exposition like, oh yeah, it's a plan. So it just kind of does like this and they talk to each other. But then how does that relate to how did they figure that out? Was that just something told to us or did it make a difference to the story? A lot of that stuff in episode 2 was just told to us. Like, oh yeah, it's like
Mm,
this. Oh yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, this. But it's not like, you know, somebody ran off into the forest and they were like, dude, we got to go get her. I don't think she knows that they talk through each other through the plants. You know, it's like, what do you mean she doesn't know? How does she not know that? Well, she came from such and such. Dun-dun-dun. It's like
yeah.
ways that whoever their characters are, what they know, where they came from, informs the logic of the story.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. I mean, but to be fair, Joel and Tess are smugglers, and they've been smugglers for years, decades, right? So I'm sure they've got a good sense of this from years of just traveling. So that's probably why there was a lot of exposition because they're characters, right? You say to form the characters, they just, even when they went into and met
Yeah,
the most fearsome infected, the clickers, right? They already knew. He said, "Is he still here?" So they already knew that what the different levels of these infected, right? And what it
yeah,
could, how it could look, and how to deal with them too.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that how much did that change anything? Like I'm saying in a story, to me, whenever you're going to do something like that, maybe they all put on extra socks so they wouldn't, you know, make as much noise on the floor. That's not scientific. I know
Mm,
physics don't work like that. But and one girl's like, "No, I didn't want to wear my socks because you can't tell me what to do." And it's like, "Oh God, you didn't wear socks. Now they're going to hear us."
well, hold on. It did inform the story. Remember, they were going to do that first, but they couldn't because they were going a different path. Remember, but they looked down. It was all those infected on the path they wanted to go down, so they
Yeah,
had to go back because they were saying, "Hey, we can go through the museum." They said, "No, let's not do that," and because they knew, so it kind of informed a different path for them.
yeah. But I mean, what did that mean though? To me, it didn't mean anything. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, another path. It's not like anybody was in conflict. Like
Okay.
you know,
Well, then so they set that up so they can show you how many infected were ready to go to attack them too. So that I can see the logic now. Now I'm talking
yeah,
to you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they
No,
had to show
it's
you. So they couldn't go to the museum because they knew that was some clickers there. There was like way worse situation. So they said they go this other path, but they saw in that path was all these, those folks. And then we knew how they talk. So,
Yeah.
they were gonna probably come, so it was all set up for everything, right? At the
Yeah,
end.
sure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that it's just setup.
Yeah.
There was
It,
nothing
yeah. It did
I'm tr
inform character. Yeah. To your point, it was like, did we learn? Well, we kind of learned a little bit about Tess, when she,
Mhm.
how she became more of a believer at the end. And when she got, found out she was bitten and infected, she said, Joel, you gotta be a believer. You gotta go and save, for Elle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then Elle is really more the what they call the audience surrogate, right?
Yeah.
She's learning about this as we learn about it. So yeah, to your point, I think it's just the second episode just did what it had to do. It had to get from point
Yeah.
A to point B to get the two characters alone and have a purpose of what they're going to do going forward, which is try to save the world now.
Yeah, so we've got 9 episodes, and so that means 7 episodes to go. To me, at least by the 3rd episode, at least by the 3rd episode, you need to have a strongly established, what to look forward to. What are we questioning? How
Mhm.
could this possibly go wrong? What could go right? Whose bets are we going to place on who's going to die or whatever? But that seems kind of weird to do because they're only really 2 people. So,
Yeah, and it does seem like they introduced a character like one episode, and that character probably gonna die in that same episode.
right, and that's how you structure a video game. Like like yeah, sure, we only have 2 characters. It's not like, let's bring it back. It's not like a video game like XCOM where
Ah,
you got a whole 16 people or whatever, and you're like, okay, only 2 of these dudes are coming back, and you start to get invested. We're starting with 2.
I just
XCOM.
always go back to the grenade in the ship.
Dude, I could write so many stories off those adventures I had in XCOM, dog.
The grenade in the ship that just killed everybody. But anyway,
Wait,
go play XCOM. You don't know what we're talking
he's got a
about.
live grenade inside the ship. We're trying to leave and get to safety. What's he doing with the live grenade? Don't worry, he won't drop it.
Oh, man. We spent so many hours in that game, man. I missed that game. Golly, I'm scared to get back into it until I have more cycles.
Okay,
But
so
anyway,
we're wrapping up here, right?
yeah.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, overall, so what I do want to say one last thing. So I'm invested. We're gonna check it out. But I agree, there's a danger here that we're just gonna get story of the week kind of thing, and then you're gonna be invested in this character, other tertiary character, right? That's not the main two. That's probably gonna die right in the episode. So it's gonna be interesting to see kind of what the rhythms of the show are. But you mentioned you had some concerns, and yes, I said it was a hit. People are watching it, but what is your concerns about it sustaining that hit status?
no one's been able to crack that video game code. And, can they do it? What is this leading up to? How does it wrap? If you just look at the history of video game movies, no one's kind of okay, Arcane did a good job. That was the last one. That was on Netflix.
Mhm.
That's actually solid, but
Oh, really? Okay.
it didn't blow the doors off of anybody in large numbers. Like, it didn't become a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And, rightly so. It's good, but it's not like mind blowing. I grab people by the collar and say, "You must watch this now." So, of course, it's not gonna break down doors. But Minecraft, Resident Evil, Super Mario Brothers, real life. Now we're coming to the Super Mario Bros. Animated, and even if it is good, it's probably not gonna blow the doors off of anything. The Wizard, remember that from back in the day?
Oh,
I don't know if you should count that a video game movie or one of those movies with video game, you know.
yeah, Roots or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this. I looked at some numbers around the business side, and the top three movies, video games, Sonic the Hedgehog, Uncharted, and I guess Detective Pikachu,
Mhm.
they all happened the last 3 years, and they were the top, grossing video game adaptions of all time. So that's kind of amazing to me how they did so well. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's like so they all made over 148 million, which is decent.
Mhm.
But it's like, I think people are becoming more accepting of video game movies than they did back in the day. Because I mean, The Wizard. Let's see, is this titles? This can't be. I'll look at it and see. That's
I don't yeah. I looked up a number and something said 0.3 million.
yeah.
Is that right? Because that's
That don't seem right. So yeah, I'll look into this. But yeah, I think the top movies like Sonic the Hedgehog, they did so well. Is they made two, right? And then, the matter of fact, I watched it pre-pandemic and post-pandemic with my kids, and the first one and the second one. It looks like I'll do a third one. So yeah, I think they're getting better. So I just say that yeah, it did 306 million in the U.S. alone. So I think it's still it did pretty well. No billion-dollar video game adaptations yet, but it looks like more people are coming accepting, at least in the movie world. Now, to your point, TV, that's a whole other
Mhm.
story. But I think in the movie world, we come a long way from Doom. Remember Doom with The Rock?
Right. Mortal Kombat was solid. We talked about this in previous pods before, but yeah, I think that Wizard number for 14 million is actually for the total gross. I found it on 3 different sites.
What? Wow. It seemed like a cultural phenomenon when we were growing up. Because the guy had the glove. Remember the glove? That was our golden briefcase from Pulp Fiction, right? You're like, oh God, he had the glove. That piece of crap. You ever play with? Oh man, it was not good.
The Power Glove. Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. So I think there's some these. I think people are becoming more accepting. Like Uncharted, I think it did like 400 million. I mean, now that helped because Tom Holland was just in the biggest movie of that year, that 2022, which was or 2021, which was Spider-Man: No Way Out. Maybe there was some spillover for that, but
Mhm.
the Uncharted series of movies, yeah, that did about almost 500 million US. So, stuff is starting to gel, and people are starting to watch this stuff more and more. And this is what we're talking about, like direct adaptions. I mean, there was a movie, I mean, there's a TV show, and I mean, a video game. It was a direct, version of that, and they probably even did some scenes and characters in the movie directly from the video game. So we'll see. But what about some of these other movies that we talked about too, like Wreck-It Ralph, Tron, and Tron Legacy, and Ready Player One? These and the Wizard, to your
Yeah.
point, these are all kind of game. What we call it, like video games, and basically they're around the video game genre, right? They're just like about the video game culture for that. They probably use references to characters in the video game. Like Rick and Ralph is
Yeah.
basically just a love letter to the types of video games, right? Oh, did they actually? Yeah, they use some actual characters from video games.
I I don't wanna make too much of an assumption about, how they get their story because how they get their story is not, I think, what the issue is. I mean, you can get a story from anywhere where you can just like, have a protagonist, he does something, overcomes some challenge, saves the princess in the end. And you could say that for Mario or whatever. But I think, oh, we forgot Free Guy.
Oh yeah, Free
Uh,
Guy, that was a big one.
I think what these movies that just come from, thin air and that happen to use video games as a subject matter or a backdrop, I think they have the benefit of not being locked into that, lock and key paradigm, that video game structure. And I just think trying to shoehorn story into a story and character into a set series of steps is harder to do than take a proven series of steps and slap on a characters to it.
Mm.
So I think that's just easier in general. And then you got to get past the fact that the people that go to these video game companies, I think they're not. I think they're boneheads in terms of like you're sitting around and you've got Doom, and you're like, oh, what if we made a movie of this? Hey, wouldn't it be cool if you had this monster jump out and it was first person and blah blah blah. So then when Hollywood comes up, like, hey, how you doing? We got a sack of money here. We're trying to make a bigger sack of money. It's like, oh, okay, well, what do you want to do? Let's make a game. What's cool about the game? Well, we had this one idea we are seeing, and the Hollywood guys like, all right, we don't know what's going on. We just have this video game we think is kind of interesting. They may have played it once in a while.
Mhm.
And I know for a fact that their ideas are different than what happens or what would happen in a game. So like, well, like we're saying with Last of Us, it's based around two characters. Do you bring in a bunch of characters no one knows or cares about?
Yeah.
Or do you just make it about these two people? If it's about two people, how do you have two people in a horror situation when you're used to a bunch of people you care about dying? So you just got these fundamental conflicts that are hard to work out. And either games change or the way movies about games change. And that's the only way you're going to be able to get something that really works, because I think there are just some fundamental differences in how these art forms are structured that don't tend to get worked out, especially by the people involved.
That's a fair point. I think, yeah. But you know what? Superhero movies are the same. Long time they were
Yes.
it was hard to crack that code, man. Hard to crack that code. And I think, we had Spawn and other crappy 90s movies, Ghost Rider and stuff
Yeah.
like that popped up. Then I think X-Men kind of started to trend to kind of, right the ship a little bit. The Last Stand, the Spider-Man movies, right? The first version, they started to kind of right the ship. And then finally, Kevin Feige, he kind of put it all together and it kind of made the uniform, the it made up basically he built the movie business what it is today, basically what over
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
movies, majority of them made, close to a billion. It's just like unheard of what he's done. So, somebody could crack the code. I don't know, could it be Craig Mazin in the Mizan, excuse me, in the TV space? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think there's opportunity here. So
Yeah.
it can happen.
Yeah, it's not simple. So when we say crack the code, we're not talking about, you know, well, hey, just make these certain types of jokes and people will laugh, like I'm the
Yeah.
juggernaut, bitch. Just make these jokes and it'll work. And it's like, no,
Drop
because
these lines. Everybody gonna show up, bro.
yeah, exactly. Because if you don't make the jokes, then what happens? Or, it's like, well, it's not it's not representative of the characters we see. Like, people are always talking about the uniforms and outfits. It's like, well, is this uniform too much? Is it too accurate to the comic books? Because the comic books are kind of meant to be a caricature of life. You know,
Mm.
Superman used to have
Well,
his
Feige does
it-
a great job of not to interrupt you, but
yeah,
just
yeah, go ahead.
Feige does a great job of just distilling the essence of what the character is about. So he can always change, like the storylines a little bit, or give you a different timing of the storylines. But for whatever, he just knows, and he just casts well. I mean, so he knows the essence of the character well enough to know what he can or can't change to make it seem real. And so, and the way he's evolved it, I mean, if you look at the first Iron Man, is basically, Top Gun, it's just like,
Yeah,
hey, I'm Iron Man, did you do America, at the end,
yeah,
but it's just like, but the essence of Tony Stark, right? The
yeah,
self-made man who kind of helped himself get out of it. He had to change a heart literally, right? His heart was killing him because he had no empathy and he had to change his heart to become a superhero. So, I mean, that's the essence, that juxtaposition of, the fatal flaw. That noise, the fatal flaw of just what that means to be a superhero. And I think that's endemic to, like, if you do a character well,
yeah,
you create a fatal flaw, a character trait that matches their power, right? And so it's kind of like a gift and a curse at the same time. So anyway, Feige
yeah.
understood that. So hopefully these video game movies and adaptations and TV shows could, take that and figure out what, to your point, when you're playing a video game, I'm, for any video game that you play, do you get a sense of that from a character standpoint? Do you see what was driving the character, or is it still
Don't
largely?
care.
Yeah, isn't that
Don't,
crazy? And I
no,
think that's a challenge.
it's me that's playing the game.
Yeah,
I take the role of that character. Like when I first
good
played
point.
Grand Theft Auto 3, I remember like he didn't say anything, he didn't have any extra dialogue. They were like, "No, that character is kind of a version of you." So they set up all this stuff in the world and then put you in a situation. And as long as you role played that situation that the character was in. Like, hey, this person's got to get away. I'm the getaway driver. There's a car. I'm wearing a brown leather jacket and denim jeans, and the music is pumping. It's kind of like, yeah, once you play the role that we've set up for you, it's going to feel like a good game. If you start doing,
Mm.
if you start trying to go against that environment, it doesn't feel like a good game.
Wow. Okay, so it's not a bug, it's a feature. So baked into a video game is that these characters have to be almost ciphers because
Right.
you as a player embody that. So whatever flaws you have are the flaws of the character.
Yes.
So, if you like, for instance, Grand Theft Auto, you can do anything, right? But you're like, I'm gonna do these missions and I'm not gonna, beat up people or carjack them, right? You could do that. And so
Hmm.
basically you have a different experience, right? And it's the story will revolve around that. Oh, there's a great experience. But if you're like, man, I'm trying to jack every mother that come up in here, I'm taking him out the car, taking all his
Yeah.
money, and taking his money and do it, then that's your fatal flaw. And so the game will revolve around your fatal flaw, and so so the other person that may not make as much money as you and take longer on their missions, you
Hmm.
may make all the money, but then you're gonna get, feedback. You're gonna get, a lot of people attacking you more often. So you
Yeah.
have a harder time that way. So wow,
But
okay.
and yeah, and that feedback kind of doubles on itself because if they're attacking you because you've got more money, you don't think the attacks are a bad part of the game. You're like, yeah, I should get those attacks because I'm making this money. I'm that kind of badass player. And just on the other hand, if you're trying to be stealthy and sneaky and not, maybe this is a better term for like Metal Gear, if you're playing the stealthy, sneaky route and nobody attacks you, you're kind of thinking to yourself, I played the game well because absolutely nobody died, absolutely no one heard me. It's like that, whatever. So, when you translate that to a movie, it's just more difficult because the expectations and the setups are completely different. So, I'm struggling to think about what type of video game that's really good that I'd like to see as a movie.
Yeah.
And because of that disconnect, it actually is kind of difficult to place.
Mm.
I'd rather create a movie and then have like a video game made off of it.
I wonder if horror video games are the best way to make the adaptions because even in horror movies or horror TV shows, you are that character. I mean, they kind of, they don't show you the ghost until the character sees a ghost, right? Or something like that. So just like in a game, you don't see the clickers until your character turns and sees them, right?
Mhm.
Or you hear them just like the characters hear them. So to your point, you can't bring anything to that, just, your own fear and your reaction to that. So it doesn't seem, so I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
brainstorming this, but I'm thinking of horror video games maybe the best way to adapt this. And to be fair, Last of Us is that kind of version. So the ciphers, whether you bring a fatal flaw to it or not, doesn't matter. Fear is fear, right? So it is what it is.
Well, and see, here's the thing. Like you just got me thinking. If we take our group example where there are a bunch of characters, I don't know of a I'm trying to think of a video game that plays out like this, but let's say you've got a game where you have a bunch of NPCs, right? And it's a horror game, and you're going to have to kill off some of the people that are actually helping you through the game at some point because maybe they're getting infected.
Mhm.
This may start to change how you play the game. That's an interesting thought. It's like, huh, well, I remember that shopkeeper. I used to buy such and such from him. If I kill that shopkeeper, then I won't be able to get such and such. I'll have to drive all the way to the next town or whatever to get it. And you start to have these ramifications. And that seems a little more Hollywood like where you have these decisions to make. So I think there's a some sort of middle ground where you have a more cinematic video game. And
Mhm.
I don't mean cinematic in the sense of cutscenes. I mean cinematic in the sense that there's this character arc with your ups, your downs. A couple games have tried like taking things away from the player. Like you take things away from a main character in a story all the time. Like they lose their weapons, they lose access to whatever, they lose a loved one, they lose things. In a video game, you start losing stuff. It's like, man, this game sucks. I spent 5 hours building up this sword, and all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
It's hard. Final Fantasy 7. Wait, I spent all this time giving materia to this girl, and now she's not with us anymore. Doesn't always work. Trust me, a lot of people have tried. Sometimes it just pisses the gamer off. So
Well, Mr. Benja, man, this has been interesting conversation, man. Yeah, so I mean, anything you want to sum up in
oh,
general when it comes to like video games and just where we're going with this new space of adaptations to TVs and movies?
yeah, there's we've been looking at it from a video game property because, as you said, movies are doing one thing, but there's so much money in video games right now, and a lot of it's coming from streamers, people jumping online playing Fortnite and getting all this money from auxiliary
Yeah.
ancillary avenues. And it's like, can I take that same vibe, package it up, and put it somewhere else? Because something that has been working on a smaller scale is taking these large properties like Jaws, Nightmare on Elm Street, or whatever, and bring them into the
Mm,
video game world.
mhm.
And that's pretty exciting, actually. Probably more exciting than turning video games into these other properties if you can figure a way to have these other properties turn into video games without spoiling the game experience and expanding the world at the same time. But
Yeah,
last thing I
like Stranger Things. That's what Netflix is doing, right? They have Stranger Things. They're doing two things with it. They're making live experiences. So you go to an event live
Mhm.
in the real world, and then they create video games around that, and that's their own IP. And so, yeah, Netflix is going all in on that, and they have a video game studio, so they can play a Stranger Games game inside Netflix. So yeah, I see them doing more of that and see what they can do. And that's one of, I mean, be honest with you, that's their only kind of original IP. I'm trying to think. I mean, Squid Game, yeah, kind of maybe, but
we'll see after season 2, right?
yeah. But yeah, so because even Wednesday, which is a hit for them, or Dahmer is based on obviously other, or The Watcher, those are kind of, I don't
Yeah.
know, one offs. So anyway, so more to come on that. But what were you about to say?
No, I think there's fertile ground. It just has to be developed carefully. Like, you can't like, one of the reasons Marvel works is because it's not like you have a hit movie and that has spin-offs. You have a whole world that's already developed, and then they just pick elements out of that world and start making more from it. Like, you have Iron Man, he's got his own thing. You've got Captain America, who's his own thing, but let's do a little bit of crossover. But it's
Mhm.
not like Iron Man really needed to exist before Captain America came out, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you've got these, it's just a completely unique situation, which makes it work for where we are now. And I don't think that people have been doing that with video games, where they're taking the unique situation that they have with a video game world and video game properties and trying to turn that into something that can be spread across other mediums. I think they're just trying to say, hey, well, Mario saves the princess, or well, didn't save, isn't going to save the princess in this one because it's a whole different setup. But hey, Mario's here, he's the main character, let's do this. Nobody would fund, for example, a series about some character that's one of the Yoshis. That's not the Yoshi we know. Like, let's call him Broshi, right? So there's this other character called Broshi. That's like, dude, we're gonna make this whole franchise. It's gonna be this character called Broshi. Well, he's gonna have a video game. No, no, we're just gonna go straight to theaters. It's gonna be a movie called Broshi. Is Yoshi showing up in it? No, it's about Broshi. Is Mario or Luigi or who's showing up? Well, no, it's just about Broshi. He's gonna be hanging out in
Yeah.
Mushroom Kingdom. It's like you get laughed out of the building, but it's only because everybody's head is so into, well, here's Mario. Here's what Mario Brothers is about. If you don't start from Mario, end of discussion.
Yeah.
So until you get around that, I think you're going to have a lot of problems.
No, well said, man. So obviously we'll keep our pulse on this space as we do of all things related to pop culture. So then we're gonna wrap up here, Mr. Benja.
Quick,
So
quick question before you wrap. I know we're at 118. We know we're 118 or something like that. Is there anything you'd want to any video game you'd want to see besides XCOM? turned into a movie or TV property?
Mm, like you, man, I don't care. I mean, it's like it's a compelling story. It's like, I don't play enough video games to even care. I mean, they did that. They did a Halo TV show. No one even talked about that, right? I think it's on Paramount Plus. I was gonna check that out, see if that was any good. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm just not drawn into this stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think back in the day. Was there anything like you said, Metal Gear? But I thought they tried something like that, but I can't recall. Did they try? What was it called? Dang, I'm trying to think. Samus is it Samus? What was that?
Metroid.
Metroid. Yeah, did I try Metroid something TV show movie? But anyway, so nah, not really.
Yeah, man. There's so much that we could do, man. Give me a Punch Out series.
Yeah, that's
And,
right.
and Little Mac is just the coach of this gym with all these crazy characters. I'll give you all that one for free, man.
Love it. I love it. Well, everyone, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. We're going to end it here. Please like, subscribe, and comment at Show versus Business on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And also go check out our website, Show versus Business. All right, Mr. Benja, take care.
Peace.